Wanna play?
Here's Johnny!
I need a bigger boat.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wanna Play. My name is James McKenna, and today I have another franchise to rank for you guys. Today, we're going to be ranking the Prom Night franchise. That's right, there are enough of these for me to rank them. There are 5 Prom Night movies, which, believe me, I was as shocked as you are to learn that there are freaking 5 of these things. But here's the thing about the Prom Night franchise. It might be the most consistent franchise that I have ever watched. Every single one of these movies, there is stuff to love about them, and I just found myself having a blast through this entire franchise. Now, I've said that there are franchises that are consistent before, stuff like Child's Play, but every franchise, let's be honest, has their Seed of Chucky, or Phantasm Ravager, or Psycho Remake, or Carrie 2013. Every franchise has an entry like that, except for Prom Night. There's honestly no movie that I really even dislike in this entire franchise. And it was honestly just a blast to get through. So today, I'm here to rank them all for you. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So coming in last place is going to be Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. Now, Prom Night 4 Deliver Us from Evil is still a great movie, even though it's in last place. I love the opening with the neck slit, and then the off-screen stab, and then the car explosion. That was all sick. There's a strange meta reference to the original Prom Night film in here, which was fun.
To Prom Night. Prom Night. To Prom Night.
To Jamie Lee Curtis. I thought the score was good. I thought that the acting was so bad that it was good. And I just generally had a blast with this movie. The only reason why it's really in last place, it's basically because it's kind of the outlier of the franchise, and I think it has the weakest villain, whereas the other ones had the Man in the Ski Mask, and Richard Fenton, and Mary Lou. This one just had like a killer priest who is a cool idea in concept, but they just didn't really do much with them up until the end. And the ending, I think, is where it starts to truly shine. I love the final girl, and I actually think that there is a great jump scare towards the end, but what really just sets this apart from so many other horror movies is the freaking bit where the final girl runs up and she sees her friends, her dead friends, kind of like standing up, and you're like, what? And it's in the middle of the woods. And then all of a sudden they all get set ablaze, and here they are, her friends, nailed to crosses, on fire, and it is ridiculous. This movie is fantastic. It is super underrated, and it's just so good. But just because it really doesn't really have much else to do with the franchise, and the killer is kind of weak up until the end, it comes in last place for me. And coming in at number 4 is going to be the Prom Night remake from 2008. Now, of course, the acting wasn't the best, and I think they rely a little bit too much on the jump scares, but the fact that this has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes is absolutely ridiculous to me, because I found myself really digging into the storyline and the characters that they give us. Now, as I said, the acting wasn't the best, and some of the characters didn't really make too much sense, but the detective and all of the police were amazing characters. I loved Richard Fenton as a villain. Like, he's a little bit complex, a little bit overcomplicated, but it makes, honestly, the most sense out of any villain in this franchise. There are a few things that just throw me off a little bit about this. Like, there were a few times where Richard Fenton would be right there, and then a character would, like, turn around as Richard Fenton is walking towards them, but then he's just, like, not there. There are just a few weird things like that, like the plot gets a little bit too convenient at times, and I'm not really sure what was going on with Lisa's death and the weird sheet room that was going on in the hotel, but I loved the hunt while they were going through the hotel and just bashing through doors and looking through all of these places to find Richard Fenton and just lock him back up. And this was honestly a really interesting movie in my opinion, and it really just grabbed my attention. There are just a couple of things in here that bring it down to number 4. And coming in at number 3 is going to be Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. I love this movie because it continues on from part 2, which I believe is the only time that a sequel in this franchise actually continues the story of a previous entry, but it continues on from part 2 and it does part 2 a justice. I love every scene with Mary Lou. She just carries this movie so well, and just every main character in this film I think is a really good and interesting character. Now, some of the side characters, their acting isn't the greatest, but I really think that they ultimately pulled off the whole love triangle with Alex, Sarah, and Mary Lou very well. I also really like the dynamic between Alex and Mary Lou in this film, how Mary Lou kills everybody that gets really on Alex's nerves, and Alex tells her, like, stop, like, you can't be killing these people, like, the whole film, but she always ends up seducing him and really, like, making him change his mind and go back on his word with stuff because of how she seduces him, and just her killing people in these crazy ways and then having him just bury them on the football field. Yes, it's a dumb character decision, but I think it just makes for a more entertaining plotline in the film. And the ending stretch of this movie, oh my god, it's like the ending to Hellbound Hellraiser 2, but like better. It's the characters literally running through hell and trying to avoid and escape all of the other characters who died in the film as they're like trying to basically get them and keep them there. It is so ridiculous and over the top, but it is such a blast with some amazing practical effects and some characters that I really found myself liking. So for those reasons, Prom Night 3 comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Prom Night from 1980. Prom Night is just one of my favorite slashers out there. I think that all the characters are really good. You got Jamie Lee Curtis in this one of her first roles after Halloween, and she actually did this film before Halloween 2 came out, and she's just almost at her best in this film. Like, she's great. All the side characters are great. I think all the kills are great, and the main killer, the main villain, this man in a ski mask who I don't believe was ever actually given a name. He's just a nameless, faceless guy in a ski mask chasing these kids around school on prom night with a freaking axe, and it's just so, it's over the top, it's kind of ridiculous, but it really just uses, I guess, it uses prom night, like the actual night itself, to the best effect in this franchise. Just having him go around, running around with his axe, just chasing all these kids down the hallways and stuff. They really use the school to its best advantages. And I really like the backstory to this film, how they were all kids and one of them accidentally was killed when he was pushed out a window while they were playing hide and seek. It's a little bit weird to explain, but the movie just sells it so well. And this movie is just so good. It's one of my favorite slashers of all time, and it comes in at number 2. But coming in at number 1, this was a very difficult pick because honestly, you can ask me on any day and any of these movies could be number 1. But right now, as we speak, number 1 for me is Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Now, right off the bat, the opening scene is great, with Mary Lou giving her confessions to the priest and then afterwards saying, but wait a second, I loved every second of it. And it's like, alright, here we go. And then we get the introduction of Vicky, who's just one of my favorite characters of all time. Every time she's on screen, you know it's going to be a good scene. And just Mary Lou herself as a character, as a killer, is just so great. The way that she kind of torments Vicky by like making these objects come to life, like her rocking horse in her room literally comes to life, and it's all practical effects. Her mirror comes alive. There's this crazy scene where she gets like sucked up and devoured by a freaking blackboard of all things. This movie is so insane. All of the effects, all of the kills are great. There are a couple recognizable names in here as well. We got Art Blank from Saw 4. We've got the guy from Scanners who gets scanned and like the eyes roll in the back of his head. And just whenever Vicky is possessed by Mary Lou, she could not be a better actress. It's ridiculous how good she does. This film is one of my favorite horror sequels of all time. It's so good, it's so crazy, so ridiculous, but it easily comes in at number 1, at least as of now. So thank you for watching my ranking on the Prom Night films. Now I believe every one of these films is available on YouTube. If not, then the remake is available on Netflix, and some of the sequels are available on other services like Tubi TV. But yeah, definitely check out this franchise. The original I know is on Shudder as well. Definitely give it a watch if you haven't. It's so much fun. This franchise is just one of my favorites and one of the most underrated horror franchises out there. So thank you for watching this ranking. Let me know your ranking in the comments down below. You can subscribe to this channel if you would like to, and you can also follow me on Instagram at JamesFromWannaPlay if you are interested. You don't have to though, but thank you for watching this video. Goodbye and good night. Bang.